So I literally just saw a meme that kind of sums up exactly why I wanted to create this channel in the first place. The meme is, let's normalize not being fake nice just because you teach yoga or meditation. It's okay not to have your shit together. You're human. You're not perfect. Embrace the messiness. Be you. I love that because I find one of the reasons a lot of the self-help channels or gurus or books or other resources have not been particularly accessible to me personally is because I found that there's a lack of like relatability there, because a lot of the time the focus is um, almost exclusively on the positive, which can actually be kind of really invalidating and dismissive for a lot of people. I think it's really important to find that balance of, challenging intrusive thoughts, or what's called cognitive distortions. Those are those icky thoughts that kind of show up and, contribute to us spiraling, and they're often not based on reality, which is one of the great things about them, because it makes them a little bit easier to kind of poke holes through and break down and sort of reframe into a more resilient perspective. But having said that, reframing those thoughts is not the same as ignoring that they exist. So I'm hoping that, we'll have a chance to kind of, explore healing from a messy perspective. You know, um, I don't have my shit together. I often don't. I consider myself almost an expert when it comes to self care and self help, though, because it's something that has become so ingrained into my daily life, because it's had to, in order to function at even like a low normal level of what's expected of a functioning adult member of society. The level of self care and work I've had to put into myself is much more than I would say most neurotypicals I've encountered. Any neurotypicals I've encountered, to be honest. Um, I had to make things like meditation and yoga and challenging cognitive distortions in my spiritual practice, which often encompasses Reiki, tarot, yoga. Part of my they had to become part of my daily practices. But having said that, I mean, part of the process of healing is you're gonna have some days where I have some days where I almost manage to convince myself I am neurotypical. The imposter syndrome is so real. If I'm not having a day where I'm like actively having a meltdown, I begin to second guess if I even have ADHD, if I even have depression, if I'm just a dramatic fool who's kind of been, playing it up the whole time. But then I'll have another day where I can't get out of bed or stop thinking about offing myself. So, I mean, you know, from one day to the next, does that mean that I'm magically less healed, or that I've somehow taken a step or a couple steps back in the process? No, yeah, you have to remember it's not linear. You're not just going to become enlightened or healed one day, and never struggle again. In order to challenge those intrusive thoughts and really really combat them, or for meditation to become effective, and being in the moment, they're practices. They're practices that you have to continue with in order for them to work. And you're gonna have some days. I've been meditating for years, folks, and I have some days where I feel like fucking Buddha, and I have left this planet. I am in nirvana. And then I have other days where I I can feel my toes too loudly, and that's all I can focus on. So I mean, uh, you know, healing is very similar to grieving. There are ups and downs, and I think it's really important to acknowledge those downs, because a lot of the self help and self care rhetoric I encounter really, really ignores those. And I think, when we're not talking about things that or experiences that a lot of people have, it can create a culture of shame. And, I don't want to feed into that. So, I mean, as much as I do want to keep the focus positive in the sense that, we're not going to be succumbing to our symptoms, we're trying to navigate ways to treat them and manage them and make them work for us, even if possible. At the same time, I'm not trying to ignore the reality that none of us really know what we're doing, and all we can really do is try our best with the tools that we have. So let's work on building some tools, folks. Ciao for now.